Gamecast from MSN.
Hi and welcome back to the Games Podcast number 13 from MSN Tech and Gadgets. I'm Jane Douglas and you're also listening to Nick Taylor.
Afternoon.
And Ian Lee.
Good morning. Depends when they're listening, doesn't it? It could be listening any time of the day.
Yep. Well,
So
we've covered both.
We've covered two of them
sides
anyway.
of it.
Now, it's the 13th one, so fingers crossed nothing's going to go terribly wrong. I've forgotten my notes already, so it could... That's a bad start. But we'll start, as we always do, with what have you been playing this month, Jane?
I tried playing Godfather 2 and
Yep.
then I got a little bit bored of it, and so I went back to Fable 2 because I know you don't like it. I went back to Fable 2, which I didn't like the first time round, and I don't think... I didn't finish it. I got pretty far and I didn't finish it, and now I'm kind of gotten back into it. And we were just talking before we started recording about choosing the good side or the bad side and how you inevitably end up being good even though you didn't really intend to. And I think it was yesterday I got an actual Halo in the game. You're running around.
Really?
I got a Halo just because unintentionally I'm just that good.
Those games where you do have to make the decision, are you going to do good things
Yeah.
or naughty
Yeah.
things? I can't... Even in the world of computer games, I can't do really bad things.
Yeah.
I can't go around killing innocent people. You were saying... about putting people in slavery. Is that in Fallout?
In Fallout, yeah, you're given one potential quest where you get an easier path to complete a certain part of the game if you're prepared to put two key characters into slavery.
Yeah.
But you have to go through the whole process of doing this. So you have to hypnotise them with this device and then actually send them off to their doom.
And could you bring yourself to do it, Nick, or did you balk at that?
The first time around, no. I just went in all guns blazing instead and took out
Saved
the
everyone.
slavers,
Yeah.
which was obviously a very, very good thing to do. But then I finished the game and I was just thinking, well, I've got to try and at least do something bad because otherwise it's just, I'm missing out on a whole side of the game. So I went back in and then tried to do it, but I feel terrible doing these sort of things.
They should do a study on this. They always say, computer games cause everyone to be violent and stabbings and gun crime and car crime and stuff. But surely the converse must be true then. If there are people like us, computer games make us nice, don't they? Make us do nice things to other people.
Possibly.
You're not convinced?
I'm not convinced. No.
Godfather 2, very quickly. Is it based on the film The Godfather 2, or is it just like sort of a direct sequel to the first Godfather game, which was a little bit dull?
I think it's much closer to a sequel to the first game.
Right.
It's got elements of Godfather 2, the film.
Have you
but
seen the Godfather
Not
films?
very much, yes.
All three of them?
Yeah, I think
Isn't
so.
the third one boring?
Yeah, that's
like
the worst one, right?
Yeah, that's the one that's set in the 80s and he goes to Italy and it's really dull. What a waste of 3 hours that was. Anyway, Nick, hello.
Hello.
What have you been playing?
Fallout,
Rock Band? Something like that?
I have been playing Fallout still, actually, but the one I was going to talk about was a DS game, Henry Hatsworth, and the
Yay.
Puzzling Adventure.
I love it. Now, listen, I've not heard of this. Please tell me about Henry Hatsworth.
It's fairly random. From the title, it sounds like it might be a bit like Professor Layton or something, but it's not. It's the puzzle that's involved is more like a match 3 type puzzle, like you get in Buster Move, that kind of game.
Okay, yeah.
The top screen is all your platforming action, and the bottom screen has the puzzle going on, and you have to switch between the two throughout the game to progress. Because every time you kill an enemy on the top screen, he spirals down and becomes a block within the puzzle.
Right.
If you don't clear him out in time, he ends up coming back into the game world like double powered up.
Yeah.
Much tougher and becomes a pain. So you have to keep going down there, build up power ups by using the puzzle bit as well.
And it's all done power ups
with this
for a long, long time. I love power ups.
Well, the whole thing's really old school.
Yeah.
The whole game, it's done in this really sort of tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top, silly kind of atmosphere. It's just good fun to play. Like you're this explorer chap, Henry Hatsworth, who goes around going "what ho" and all that sort of stuff. Where you just like every now and again.
Do it one more time for us, please, Nick.
What ho? Just like
That's
that.
my new ringtone. Thank you. I'm going to get that on an MP3 and loop that round. Is it good? I'm going on a holiday in a couple of weeks, and some of that holiday is going to involve me, I don't want to show off, but sitting on a beach for a long, long time doing nothing. I'm looking for a couple of games to take along with me. Would you recommend that?
I think it's a good one for the plane.
Not for the beach. It's a plane game, not a beach game. Is there a difference?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a travelling game.
Yeah, okay.
I use it on the commute up to work on the train.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's perfect for. It's a dipping in game. I think that's what I'm getting
Yes.
at. It's not the sort of game you're going to sit down and play for hours.
No,
on end.
okay.
But yeah, you pick it up, play half an hour or so. It's good laugh.
This month I've gone back to. I've just gone back in time 6 months. My friend Gary has got an Xbox, so he phoned me up and said, "What game should I get?" I was going, right, get Left 4 Dead. And get Rainbow Six, the first one, not the second one, is not as good. So I've been playing Rainbow Six Vegas, the first one, and it's wonderful, just fantastic. Although, of course, there's no one playing it online. You just get some hardcore elites who come on and you get 3 kills, they get 39 kills. Or just, slightly geeky people like my friend Gary who are just dipping a toe into the world of online gaming. But I've been playing that and I've forgotten what a fantastic game it is. What a wonderful game.
Does it not feel a bit like a ghost town when you go on there?
Yeah, it does a little bit, and that makes me sad. That genuinely makes me a little bit sad. And it means that you end up... For some reason, there are a lot of Americans still playing it. So you end up playing with Americans, then you have lag issues, and then you have American issues, and then, My new thing while I've been playing online, while I've been playing that and playing Halo Wars, is I pretend to be an American. And I don't know why, but it amuses me endlessly. And so my girlfriend comes in from, work or whatever. I don't know what she does in the daytime. But she comes in, and there's me going, "Yeah, man, that really sucks. That's really bad, man." And it only entertains me. And the other person doesn't know or doesn't care. And they just, So that's how I've been making old games a little bit more fun.
So what is your
try
character when you're American?
I'm a nerdy guy from. Well, I say I'm from Texas, but that's not a Texan accent, is it? I don't know why. But sometime this morning I was playing Halo Wars, and I was doing my accent, and the guy, the American guy, was saying, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "I'm from London." He said, "No, but you're American." I said, "No, I was born in England. I'm English, but I've just got this accent somehow. I don't know how." And he was.
I'm glad we got the Halo War story in, because someone on the boards was like, "I think every podcast should start with a Halo War story from Iain."
Halo Wars.
Great.
I've dipped back into that, and I was up this morning at 8:00 playing Halo Wars. That's bad, isn't it? That is the same as being a drug addict.
Did you need to be up at 8:00? Or
No.
you specifically for Halo Wars?
I just woke up and I thought, I could have another couple of hours in bed, or I could go and have an hour on the Halo Wars. And so I went and did that. But then I was playing with this guy, this American guy, and I was talking like that. And we were saying, we hate it. I hate it when people rush. And he said, "Yeah, I hate it when people rush. Well, it's rush." And then he rushed me with a load of warthogs. So I left the game early. I had a strop and went, I won't say what I said.
He was playing along. I hate rushing.
He was
All the
hustling
while
me.
He was building up his force.
I was hustled. I called him something very offensive and then just left
dear.
the game, which is very bad, kids. Don't ever leave a game early, because you should get bad feedback for doing that.
You've been described on the message boards as a turtle because of your style of play in Halo Wars. Apparently it's the opposite of a rusher. If you're not a rusher, you're a turtle.
You're a turtle.
Hiding into your shell.
I'm a turtle, but now there are more people playing the game. You can't, there's all these rushes that come, so you've got to kind of do a bit of both at the same time. It's lost its magical appeal. I've still not gone back to Resi Evil 5, which we were going to do. We haven't, for whatever reason. I don't know if I've offended you, Nick. If I have, I'm sorry. Let's try and work that out after we've recorded this. But I've still not gone back to Resi Evil 5. It's not captured my imagination. And I got Street Fighter 4, and I've not played that.
It's all about Resi Evil 5 is all about co-op play.
Yeah.
If you play it one player, you get half the experience. You
Right,
really do,
you've got to do it.
Well, yeah, the AI in it is passable, but for any of the really big battles, you really need a real person alongside you so you can do proper tactics.
The lady in the game, is she weaker than the man? Is there like drawing a short straw to become the lady in the game?
No.
It's not. They're like equal.
I think they had to design it like that,
Yeah.
because otherwise no one would ever volunteer.
But men
to
are
play
stronger
that
than
side.
women.
Well,
And
yes,
better at guns.
But zombies don't exist in the real world.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got me on a technicality there. So it's a fantasy land.
It is a fantasy land.
that Res Evil inhabits.
Yes.
Well, very quickly, one thing we were going to mention the China Wars, Grand Theft Auto China Wars on the DS has done terribly. We can say
has.
terribly, because they were expecting something
pretty
like
much.
400,000.
And what was terrible is it got amazing reviews from everyone.
Yeah.
All the critics loved it. Got
Oh,
like
it's getting
95%,
it's
10
getting
out of
incredible
10.
reviews.
And then I don't think it made it into the top 5.
I got
the
the
UK.
figures for the States I saw was they were expecting something like 400,000, 500,000 to be sold, and they sold about 80,000.
Yeah.
Which is
In the first month. Or something like that,
which is less than the quarter of the projected sales, is terrible. Now, is that because it's the DS and most of the people that... It can't be because most of the people that own it are... You know, it's Nintendo has always had that image problem of it's for kids, it's for girls, it's family friendly, but that isn't the case anymore. So I'm surprised that it's not sold that well.
Yeah. People talking about they wanted grown-up games and then not enough people haven't gone out and bought it.
and
But
again-
I do think there are more kids than grown-ups who own DSs.
But kids, you know, even kids want to go around running.
But
over
if their
people,
parents
don't they?
say, I don't know how this works, not being
Yeah.
a parent, but I don't know how much control people are having in saying, no, you can't have an
Well, it is an
18 rated
18,
game
isn't
for
it?
your DS.
I suppose
I'm
so.
afraid.
Maybe Grand Theft Auto has, you know, it is that Daily Mail thing. It's a dirty word, and parents hear Grand Theft Auto. I heard someone on a phone-in radio show the other day debating Grand Theft Auto. They'd obviously never played it, but they just heard that it was a bad thing, and should they let kids play it? And so maybe the brand now is so tainted
Possibly.
that it's, you know,
For the
parents are
DS
like-
anyway, because I mean,
Yeah.
that Vice City Stories did really well on
Right.
the PSP. But
Well,
then I think
yeah.
the kind of people who own PSPs are a little bit older and a little bit, you know, generally males. You know, you
I
see a
think
lot
the
of 14-year-old
franchise
kids
is a
wearing-
better fit probably on the PSP
sure.
than on the DS, because the DS does get sold
Yeah.
to the sort of demographics that wouldn't buy GTA. You know,
Sure.
like,
Well, is this going to? Are we going to get a bit on the backside as gamers now because this hasn't sold? That they're going to go, well, there's no point in releasing adult games
I hope not.
for the DS. Let's bring out Dr. Kurosaka's Brain Strain number 27.
Well, similarly, like Mad World was reviewed generally pretty well and sold okay, but not
Yeah.
fantastically. So
I think it's early days.
Yeah.
You've got these games that are starting to come out now for the Wii and the DS, but up until now, it has been lots of family-friendly, cutesy games. So
Yeah.
they've just got to keep at it and try and make it accepted as a proper gaming platform.
yeah, it might take some time.
Now, Jane, you were saying you were showing off that you've been somewhere fancy to see some new EA games
Oh
or something,
yeah,
have you?
yeah. Well, I was at the Arc. It was the EA kind of showcase event. They were talking about stuff they've got coming up, and some of it we can talk about, some of it we can't talk about.
Oh,
But,
really? Oh, hang on. There's secret stuff you can't mention?
There's secret stuff.
It's
we can't
unbongoed?
mention. It's in bongoed.
Oh.
So Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
It's kind of God of War-like. I know that's the obvious comparison.
Yeah.
So it's a third-person action game, and it's based on the epic poem. To my knowledge, the first game based on epic poetry.
Based on a poem?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
yeah.
on Dante's Inferno, obviously.
Yes.
And so you're Dante, you go down into hell, and the 9 circles of hell. And they were talking about how the poem was an ideal kind of setting for a game because there are 9 circles of hell, which means 9 levels.
Is that where Level 42 got their name from?
Well, I shouldn't think so.
There's some mythical thing about hell that
Yes.
there's a level 42, but then maybe that's not Dante's Inferno, that's something else. Anyway. moving on, yes.
So you start off in Limbo, which is like the nicest circle of hell, and
Yeah.
it gets worse and worse and worse. And each circle has its own kind of theme sin. That's from the poem. So it's quite a
Oh, like
nice...
gluttony,
Yeah,
sloth.
gluttony. Well, they're not the 7 deadly sins,
No, okay.
but the 9 something others.
The 9 not quite so deadly
But
sins.
it's quite nice too, because in the uppermost circle is Limbo. It's the nice place where people go where they just weren't nice enough to get into heaven. So unbaptized babies go to Limbo in the poem.
This is very macabre.
It is. It is quite nasty because in the game they've used artistic license, and the babies have like these giant blade hands.
Oh, giant blade hand
and you're kind of fending off these babies with giant blade hands with a scythe. So
Oh, it sounds wonderful. It sounds wonderful.
it also makes me think of Devil May Cry 4 a little bit because it's very hack and slash, and you can suspend yourself in the air while hacking and slashing away at stuff.
Okay.
Could be good. It does make me think of God of War, Devil May Cry 4. That kind
Devil
of-
May Cry was supposed to be coming out on the PSP, and apparently that's been pulled.
Oh right.
I've heard for
Yes.
some reason. I don't know any more than that. So that's my bit, and it may be wrong. I may have got the wrong game there. But still, useful bit of gossip there.
Did Capcom tell you that?
Well, the internet did, and
The
as we know, the
internet-
internet never ever lies. Everything on the
friend,
internet
yeah.
is true.
Right.
What else
Okay.
did you see
What
there that
else?
you're allowed to talk about?
Brutal Legend is going to be great. Did you ever play Psychonauts?
No.
It was like 2005, I think, by this guy Tim Schafer, who is a bit of a legend, and it's going to be very, very funny. Jack Black does the voice of the lead character,
Yeah.
and it's a very tongue-in-cheek game about a roadie who has roadie skills and kind of, I guess, plays second fiddle to the rock stars, in his life, and then is knocked unconscious in a stage accident, and blood gets into this belt he wears, which turns out to be an ancient artifact, as you do, and so he gets.
You're making this up.
I'm not
Is it
making it
not
up. This
even
is what
smoking?
happens. And then you get teleported into this heavy metal universe.
Wow.
So like mountains made out of amps and demons.
Oh.
You know, like the covers of old school kind of
Yeah,
metal records.
very much.
So it's a universe set in that kind of album cover world. And your roadie skills suddenly come to the fore because there are all these rock stars there, but they're all really disorganised and they can't arrange a tour bus and they can't get a schedule together. And so with your roadie skills, you kind of save the world.
Now, it sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
But is it one of those games that's like an excellent idea and an excellent sentence, but when you actually play it, after half an hour, you go, well, this is just
Well, that's what we were talking
tosh.
about. It could be just a great concept and not a great game to back it up. But all we really saw was the trailer, which made it sound good. But
yeah, they do that with trailers.
Psychonaut, if it's anything like Psychonauts, it'll be fun. It'll be kind of jumping around and.
But you didn't
battling
get
and
at these
stuff like
things because I've been to a few of these things. Did you get to play any games?
that. Some
or
of
was it
them,
all
yeah,
trailers?
not all, some of them were behind closed doors, and I didn't do those interviews, so I didn't get to play with those ones. But some of the others we did.
So you'd have to tell us a game that you played that you touched with your hands.
Dante's Inferno.
You
That was
you
good.
played that one,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But they only had parts of it because that's not out till I think early 2010, late 2009, something like that. And Brutal Legend as well. Like they say fall 2009, which means late 2009 for us, I suppose.
Well, it's autumn, I believe. That's
yes,
American
but
for
then
autumn.
with the lag, we'll probably get it a
Yes.
little bit later than that, I suppose.
Anything else that was?
The Saboteur, which is from Pandemic, who did Mercenaries. You did.
Right.
You played Mercenaries, haven't you?
I like the idea of
Yeah,
Mercenaries. I just
yeah.
thought it was a way too linear and
Linear, really?
Yeah, I did.
okay.
Well, I only played the first few levels.
Oh, right.
But I thought it just didn't give as much as the back of the box promised in terms of freedom and
I see. Yeah.
just what you could get away with.
No, I
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, then we'll have to see because the Saboteur it's ostensibly like an open world game, like a sandbox game set
Yeah.
in Paris in the 1940s, and it's a World War II game. But I thought what was interesting, they're saying they didn't want to tell the soldier story because there'd been enough World
Yeah.
War II soldier games. So you're this Irish saboteur working for the French resistance. And as you do, and they had some nice ideas like this art style where if you're in the kind of Nazi-occupied parts, that it's black and white and red,
Yeah.
and really grim, and then once you liberate it, then it's all colourful and nice, and people come out bearing arms and they're going to support you, and could be good, again like a nice concept, but they didn't. I don't think they had that one show. I didn't see that one.
Okay.
So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
That
That's
sounds
late-
like
late this year.
quite good. War games always do well, don't they?
They do. They do.
Will people ever get tired of going around and fighting World War II and killing
Well,
Nazis?
did you hear?
It's like, when is it okay to make a sick joke? And there is, I'm sure if that there are people's grandparents who look at people playing Call of Duty and go, well, that's not really appropriate, I don't think. But there have been
There's been Vietnam games. and
Vietnam
stuff.
games,
Yeah.
and there have been Iraq games, haven't there? Was Full Spectrum Warrior in Iraq? Or was that a fictional type?
I think that was fictional.
It was a fictional
But
type.
like Modern
was
Warfare
it?
4 is all but Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except in names. So
50
we'll
Cent
see.
Blood on the Sand was pretty much Iraq, I think. Bit of a niche title.
One of your favourites? You're a fan of the 50 Cent genre?
Well, yeah.
He's had a few games, hasn't he, 50 Cent? He's done a couple, hasn't he?
He's
Two,
becoming
right?
quite the gaming maestro.
But they're all tosh, aren't they, 50 Cent
Well,
games?
funny, I was chatting about it with someone the other night, and I must admit I haven't played Blood on the Sand, but he said it was an overlooked treasure. So
That 50 Cent.
if you're up for a bit of an over the top,
Yeah.
ludicrously stupid,
Ludacris is in it as well. Wow,
quite
all the rap
possibly.
stars.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, they should have a Marvel versus Capcom styly thing where it's all just like rap stars. It's like Ludacris and 50 Cent and P Diddy, and they all just like have
I'll buy
a
it.
punch up or something, and then they go and record some hit records.
That'd be ace.
It's like a music game plus a fighting game.
Yeah,
Awesome.
all mixed into one. And if I don't know, I'd be up for some of that.
I think you're on something.
Lovely. Okay.
Cool.
So is that all you're allowed to talk about? The rest
That's
of
the
it's,
stuff. Well, there were sports games as well, like Fight Night 4 and things at EA. But I play video games, so I don't have to play sport. So, so I don't do sports games that much. Like racing games, maybe, but not.
That's
not
the way.
sports games so
We
much.
were mentioning this last month. I don't like sports. I hate football, but I'm a big fan of the FIFA, and I'm a big fan of sports games. But to watch them or even partake in them, jeez, I can't think of anything more offensive to my poor body than physically exerting it in that way. So that's all you're allowed to tell us.
That'll do for now. I think there's more.
You tease.
Saved.
You tease.
Nick, you went to a Bethesda event, so they were
I
talking
Can I just
about-
ask? Sorry,
Yes.
you've been to something, Jane. Nick, you've been to something.
Yes.
Why wasn't I invited to anything?
We can get you invites if you want, Ian. I assumed you'd be very, very busy.
No, I've not been that busy
I
actually.
think you've been pretty busy.
I've been watching a lot of Jeremy Kyle and mowing the lawn, so I could have fitted in one of these.
You could have popped along, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Anyway, what did you see when you were there?
I went to see Bethesda and their new stuff. There was the first thing was the announcement of Fallout new DLC, which is
now they've been talking about this for a while, haven't they?
Yes,
and has this been stalled or something? There was some problem I read with the download content.
The previous one there was an issue with the pit, and it had some issues with coding problems.
Right.
People that downloaded it really early had their systems falling over. I think some people lost their save game.
So you have to say that noise was Jane reaching for a Jaffa cake. It's quite all right. You Jaffa away. So there was problems with that, but have those problems have been sorted now?
They fixed all of that.
Got a lot of bad press out of it though, didn't they? And a lot of people were very angry.
It was a little bit of an issue at the time, but that's cleared. And now we're on to the next one, which comes out May 5th, I believe, off the top of my head. And that's Broken Steel. It's going to be really good because it expands Fallout 3 much beyond what it was. One of the big issues that fans had with Fallout 3 was that when you finished the storyline, the game ended. That was it.
Right.
So you couldn't carry on wandering around and exploring. This fixes that. It reopens that ending.
Yeah.
And changes it and gives you a quest to perform after the original game ended, and then doesn't end. It just carries on.
Okay.
So you can keep going around Capital Wasteland.
See, now the more you talk about this game, the more I think, well, maybe I've missed something, because I had an hour and I managed to get outside and ran around an abandoned building, and then I was. But you genuinely love this game, don't you? This is this is it for you.
It's a great game. It's a very deep game because it's.
You're a very deep man, Nick.
Well, yeah, we're quite well suited in that one. But it's it gives you the opportunity to really go out and explore, and I like games like that because it's that open world thing done well.
Right.
Although the choices that it gives you don't ultimately make an enormous difference to how the game plays out.
Yeah.
There are still choices there to be made, and there's fun in deciding which path you want to take.
Yeah.
This new section that they're doing also extends it so the amount of levelling that you can do goes up. It used to be you get to level 20 as a character, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
That's gone up now to level 30, so
an extra 10
you
levels.
can get like sort of more experience. So you can get more perks as well.
Yeah.
All these special powers that you can.
Are they going to
build up.
charge you for this download content?
Yes, yeah. And it's only on Xbox and PC. PS3 owners are missing out again.
Ha ha ha! That'll get them angry. I think you should get that for free. I think if you've bought the game, stuff like that, I kind of feel you should, it's only...
Well, Resident Evil 5 got in a lot of trouble because they were selling the, what do they call it? What mode? Survivors mode?
Versus.
It's a versus mode, basically, so you can, fight your friends. But they charged for it, and there was controversy because people were saying it was actually on the disc, or 90% of it was on the disc, and all they were really giving you was, the rules to kind of unlock it. And they, I can't remember the
Capcom got very angry and said, well, no, it's not.
Yes,
there are
said
elements
no.
of this on the disc, but this actual feature does not exist on the disc. You're downloading this exclusively and
but
it's
I suppose
accessing...
it's beside the point because people were also saying, well, it should come with the game.
Yeah.
Multiplayer, versus multiplayer should be...
That should be part of its standard.
Yes.
There's a fight, and maps and things like that. I know there are some companies that are great with maps. Again, Rainbow Six, they gave away quite a few free maps. I think you had to buy... You have to buy some of them, but then they refunded it because they'd muffed it up somewhere. Something like that. I think maybe these things should be free for the people.
Yeah, I think there's levels of what people are prepared to pay for.
Yeah.
As downloadable stuff. Because if you are getting something that is really in depth and really adds a whole new layer to a game, which Broken Steel does for me with Fallout 3, I don't think people mind too much paying. I mean, it's going to be 800 points, which is about £6, something like that, which is fair enough, I think, when you're getting that much extra on top. If you're just getting something a bit lame, like, well, the classic was another Bethesda thing where they tried to charge people to buy horse armour in Oblivion. It's just,
oh, yes.
Which is ridiculous.
Horse armour, you say? Wow. Well, let us know what you think. Maybe I'm being naive and, slightly too left-wing on this, but go to the forum, dear listener, and, should the download content be free for the people, or, is it right that we should pay for people's work and ting? Nick, what else did you see there? Anything else?
Well, there was a quick announcement, a big one, Fallout related again. That's going to be in Vegas, the next one of that, and that's coming out next year.
Oh, okay.
So that caught everyone by surprise. But as for games I actually saw, there was Rogue Warrior, which is a third-person shooter based on this chap called Dick Marcinko. Dick Marcinko is apparently a real-life Vietnam vet. He generally takes people out by stabbing them and shooting them in all kinds of different ways. Yeah,
Look out.
This is a real
Flippin'
person.
egg.
Yeah, the demo we had mainly concentrated on what a violent lunatic he was. It looked like a cross between a shooter and a stealth game.
Yeah.
But it was very early code, really, that we
Yeah.
were seeing. So it kind of looked like it could be all right. Voiced by Mickey Rourke.
Oh, wonderful! I'm in. I am in.
I think that they may be going to, in an attempt to get the record for most swears in one game.
Brilliant.
Because
That was only just set, right? That was House of the Dead for the Wii.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah. And I think this will beat it, because every action that this character takes is accompanied by some kind of cuss word. So it's
Fantastic.
yeah, it's ridiculously over the top, and I think that's what they're going for
Yeah.
with it. It's all set as if it's an 80s action movie.
Yeah.
So it feels a bit like you're in the middle of a Steven Seagal film,
Yeah.
something like that. You've got the soundtrack behind it and all of that. So
Speaking of 80s action movies, because I'm on a tangent very slightly, have either of you seen JCVD, the Jean-Claude Van Damme
I've heard about it.
art house film
It's-
he's made?
Art-
He's
I'll
made
let
a
you
European
explain.
art house film.
Yeah.
I saw it in the week. It's the most awesome film I've ever seen. There's a scene in it. He gets involved in a hostage situation in a bank, but he's playing himself. There's a scene in it. He floats up into the gantry in the lights and does a monologue about how his career has gone all wrong and how he started off, with all these high hopes, and then he's made these awful films and done. And then he just floats back down and stays hostage. It's wonderful.
Amazing.
Anyway, sorry, that's nothing to do with video games. Although they should make a game of that. I think
Sounds great.
Anything else you saw, Nick?
yes, well, best thing I saw that day was Wet, which is a really bad name for a game, I think.
Yeah.
I was talking. Is it just because it's provocative, or is there a reason for calling it wet?
Yeah, they said it was shorthand for Wet Works, which is
Ah.
like an operation gone wrong, and
Yeah.
someone has to go in and clean it up.
I see.
And that's what the main character is. It's Ruby is the main character, and she's a fixer, and she goes in and cleans up these situations.
What situations? Like,
Situations like deals gone wrong, drug deals gone wrong.
oh, is this like
all
in
that
Pulp
sort of stuff.
Fiction when they shoot someone by mistake, and so they phone someone who comes and clears it, gets rid of the body, and tells them what to do?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's one of those. She's one of
Yes.
those fixers. So yeah, she turns up and fixes it with a couple of guns and a big sword, and it looks really cool.
a bit like
It's
Kill Bill, right? That's what it reminded me of.
Totally
Like,
that. I mean,
yeah.
they stood up and introduced this game and said these are our influences. It's all influenced on Tarantino style
Yeah.
sequences where you've got someone taking out about 40 people around them all in slow-mo, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. So you play most of the game in slow-mo.
Oh, now that frustrates me. Slow-mo. Remember Max Payne? Was it Max Payne?
It
where you had
was.
oh God, that was awful. That was an awful game. Use your slow-mo. It's easy if it's in slow-mo then, because you can see what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's cleverly done, this, because you've got a lot of people on the screen that you've got to deal with at any one time.
Yeah.
And you can also have split targeting, so one of your shots is automated.
Yes.
And you'll be shooting away, and then you can do manual shots over there
Okay.
as well. So you've got lots to think about while you're
Yeah.
in this slow-mo mode anyway. And you can do all these really cool finishing moves, like she'll be sliding along on her knees, shooting away.
Right.
And then as you get to the guy, you whip out this big samurai sword and lop his head off
It
with
sounds
that.
like
or
a
something.
lot of set pieces to me. James, does that kind of grab you, that sort of...
I think it looks good, actually, and I think you're right about the set pieces. Though I think they've designed it. It's just like each level is, well, maybe not each level, but it's big action set piece,
Yeah.
action set piece. I think it could be good, but it's a bit early to tell, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like Mirror's Edge with better
Right.
combat, I think.
Yeah.
It's not
a
first
lot of
person. Is
people
it
were-
third person or first person?
It was third person.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. It's but the action of the character
I
is
see,
very
I see.
reminiscent of Mirror's Edge. It's even got she's called Ruby. It's got Ruby vision in it, which highlights your path. Like in the
Oh,
same
I see what you
Mirror's
mean
Edge.
now.
Okay.
A lot of people are comparing it to Stranglehold as well,
Right.
John Woo game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good fun. And again, it's one of these, we're going to set it in a certain decade game.
Yeah.
So they've gone for the 70s, and they want to make it this really sort of over the top 70s style
Okay.
flick. It's even got grainy flickering on the screen as you're playing.
I quite like that. It's the slow-mo frustrates me. Come on, this is the 2009. We don't want to slow. We want things to be faster, more furious. I don't want to be banging buttons and shooting things furiously. I don't want to slow down and think about stuff.
I think you'd like it. If you see it in action, I think you'd like the concept. They've done it well.
I will have a look online. Now, we were looking at a game before we came in that you found on...
Infamous.
Infamous.
It's
now,
called, yes.
I knew very little about this, but it does look quite good. And this is what starts us talking about the whole good-evil thing, because you can be good
that's right,
or you can be evil in it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. It's out in June. It's a third-person PS3 game. It's open-world kind of sandbox city. They compare it to City of Heroes. So you're this regular guy who, for various reasons, ends up with electrical powers, like you do. And the kind of hook is you can be good to people or you can be bad, and you get different powers.
But they encourage you to be bad in this one.
I think that they haven't explicitly said as much, but the powers you appear to get by being evil are much more badass, much cooler. And I think that's a nice way of redressing the balance, because most people will veer towards being good.
Yeah.
But if you've genuinely got a reward for being bad, it's going to make it more of a choice rather than just a default to good. And I think it looks awesome. We were looking at it earlier.
Well, it does look very good. There's a scene where we saw one of the choices where you can. There are some riot cops. We're not quite sure what's happened in the city. Something has happened in the city. Isn't it? It's got a state of emergency.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a scene where there's some riot cops and there's some general public, and you can either go and attack the cops on your own, or you can sort of hide in the crowd and start a riot so that everyone gets the cack beaten out of them by the police. So it looks kind of quite cool. And you've got lasers coming out of your hands.
Yes, kind of like force lightning stuff.
Yeah. Let's be honest, that's fantastic, isn't it?
Hard to fault it, really.
You can't fault it, Nicholas. You just can't. I think it looks good coming out in June, but beyond that, we know nothing. I haven't played it. I've not had a go on it.
Yet. No, we'll have to wait for that.
Okay. Is there anything else coming out? Summer's normally quite a quiet time for games. There's
a game. I don't know. You may like it. It's called Fat Princess, and it's a bit different. I was telling Nick about this earlier. It's PSN, so it's downloadable, and it's a team kind of real-time strategy game.
Yeah.
Your princess is in the other team's castle, and you've got their princess in your castle, and you feed her cake or whatever to keep her fat. Because when she's fat, the other team can't carry her away and rescue her.
Okay, yes.
So you're trying to prevent them from rescuing their princess, and they're trying to do the same. But she's got this. She gets skinnier over time if you don't keep feeding her.
Of course, you would do.
Of course, and so it's all a bit cruel, really, a bit unpleasant. But it's really cutesy and colourful. So I suppose they kind of get around how grim it is.
The front page of the Sun on I think it was Tuesday. You see the headline, the most amazing headline: "Fatties cause global warming." That was the front page of a newspaper in this country. When they see this computer game, they're going to go furious. So so at what point do you then go off and try and rescue your hopefully slim
Well, it's strategic,
princess?
So you'll leave some people behind to defend.
Okay.
And there's different classes, so you'll have a healer, and then you'll send some people out to go and get her, and while at the same time preventing them from getting. So it's capture the flag, but with a princess,
with a fat princess,
and it looks really cute. So
it looks
I think they'll do well.
It doesn't sound bad, does it? I could be up
it's
for
really
a
cool.
Little bit of that. I owe you an apology, Jane.
Why is that?
Last month, I laughed at you when you told me about the game Flower or Petal or something.
Yes, Flower.
I've not played it.
Oh.
No, I've not played it. I'm never going to. But a friend of mine was telling me about it, and I laughed at him. He went, "No, don't laugh, Ian. It's actually a really good game." So he knows what he's talking about.
Well, thank you, Ian's friend. So,
it's all about. It's a dream. The flower's having a dream.
Yes. There's a bunch of flowers and
I can't stop
so
laughing
to speak.
at it. I can't stop laughing at it.
And each one's having a different dream, and each dream is a level, and it's got this message about urbanisation and flowers and going back to nature. But I do like how you took your friend seriously, but you laughed at me.
Well, yes,
it's a very good point.
Ben Moore told me, and I
consensus of two.
Yes,
so,
exactly. So
okay.
I apologise for laughing in your face.
Splendid.
Last week.
Splendid.
Now, should we go to the forums?
Yeah.
We threw out the question: your 3 Desert Island games, Desert Island discs that you would take with you to a desert island. I don't need to explain the premise of how that works. You understand. Okay, well, I'll pick one here. Look, the Trickster says, my Desert Island picks: King of Fighters 96, Team Fortress 2, Breath of Fire 2. I only know Team Fortress 2. I don't know the other two. I always get slagged off for not having heard of games sometimes on the forum, but Hey, I can't have heard of every single
Every last game. No, this
it's
is
just
true.
impossible.
Some pretty retro choices there, I think.
Intensity says Sensible World of Soccer, which is...
Oh, Sensible Soccer's good, yeah, well
Parappa
done.
the Rapper, which I think we mentioned way back when, which was really good.
Parappa the Rapper. In fact, do you know what? I found I've got the soundtrack CD to that, and I was listening to the Onion karate teacher. Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. I was actually listening to
Nice.
that.
And GTA 4, which was a popular one, actually. There were some mainstream ones that were mentioned over and over, like Call of Duty 4, Fallout 3.
Yeah.
I think GTA 4 came up a few times.
I like Clarky 12, who goes with LMA Manager, Rock Band, but also The Sims Castaway, because then he could model the sim on himself and get a monkey butler.
Monkey butlers. Ikidox has chosen... Geez. Let's hope we never get stuck in the lift together. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, World of Warcraft, and Pokemon Diamond Pearl, because my Pokemon is my favourite series ever. And then goes on to say, Ian, how can you not like Fable 2? It was one of the best games of 2008. There's loads to do. Even better, there might be a Fable 3. Well...
That doesn't sell you on it, really.
It doesn't, because there's a third
But I like
one
this
coming
guy.
out.
I think 2 of those games were my, two
you'd
of
be
my
sorted,
games. So,
wouldn't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
we get on fine. I liked Jay Cray, who said the R4, which is a bit of a cheat, so it's a, memory thing for the DS. Call of Duty 4, fair enough, but cooking guide, can't decide what to eat for the fact that I'd know what to do with the coconuts and fish that would be found on the island. Presuming you had, cooking implements and everything else as well. So
David Lowe, Big Gamer, has no friends. We mentioned, very briefly, I just have to mention this, we mentioned last week that the PS2 is still selling bucket loads. It's been reduced in price in the States, and over here I think, isn't it? But it's still selling, and I was saying, why would anyone buy a PS2? David Lowe, Big Gamer, has no friends, has written, PS2 is selling because it takes up less space. Okay, there we go, that's that one. That's that one cleared up. That's the reason it's flying off the shelves. Okay. And very quickly, look, someone has just... who is it here? Psych23 has gone for Robotron 2084. That's a game.
I don't know it.
It's an old arcade game. You've got 2 joysticks, and you go in and you're just surrounded by robots that are coming towards you and you have to shoot them. That's it. It's intense, it's mental, it's just never-ending, and it's beautiful. Well done.
I apologise, I can't find who said it, but someone mentioned Geometry Wars, which is actually a good one.
Good shout.
Yeah,
Geometry
get all the
Wars.
achievements on that.
Very
That would
good,
be awesome.
very good. Maybe we'll address the FIFA Pro Evo fight in a little bit.
Puzzled Goose says Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which was excellent.
Oh yeah, that
So
was a great game.
That was really good. So
Star Wars games we've mentioned this before. You have to be so careful with, but that was genuinely brilliant. I'd forgotten about that. Yes.
Settlers 4 and Left 4 Dead. So so I could get really good at it and finally complete it on Expert, which is a noble ambition. So
Robert Tyler says Little Big Planet.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. They're bringing another one of those out as well, apparently. Tim Fry's, I think, signed up to
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
I saw he was on Twitter and he said, "I'm in the studio today to record the voice for a second game. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is yet, so I'll ask when I get there." I'm like, if it's a second game, I think he said sequel. I'm like, he hasn't done a lot of games really, so I might be misquoting him. I hope not.
Yes. Have you two ever been in the voice of a game?
No.
No one's
to my
asked me so
knowledge.
far.
You should. Surely, with your contacts, I'm thinking more of Nick because he's got as everyone says, Nick has got
Great
the voice
voice.
of the podcast. Great voice.
Can we get to work on that?
Surely
get
your
you in a game.
contacts, you could
That would
get
be awesome.
Either of you could get a little bit, and then Nick, you could get a voice.
Well, maybe someone's listening that can approach one of us to do this.
Call us, please.
Get Nick in. I would love. It's always been an ambition of mine to have my voice in a game, and I've approached
really?
people, and they've all told me to get stuffed. If I'm completely honest, but Nick, you come on. Let's make this a campaign of this show to get you, even if it's just a tiny one line, get you in a game somewhere.
I think that'd be fantastic.
If any
I'm
games
fully
developers
behind
are
it.
listening, and we will mercilessly plug your game to almost illegal quantities if we can on this podcast. If you give Nicholas a job, that'd be wonderful. Be exciting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And Robert Tyler continues, Little Big Planet, Race Driver Grid, need a racing game to keep me excited. And
That
last
makes
but-
him sound like the character out of Crank.
Yeah, Crank 2 has been released recently.
Oh, I saw the trailer.
He's got
It's horrific.
he's had his heart replaced with a battery or something.
And he has to rub against people to keep himself statically charged so he doesn't die.
And is it Crank or Crank 2? I've seen a picture where he's got the jump leads, one connected to a nipple, one to his tongue. Anyway, and he's gone for his... sorry, Robert Tyler, we'll get there in the end. He says, least but not last, Fallout 3, to keep me occupied for days since I haven't had any time to play it. OK, well done. Fallout 3 is quite a popular choice, it seems. Oh, I like the mushy peas. has gone for Call of Duty 4, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I kind of like those building things and making money type games. And Virtua Tennis 3. Yeah, I'm a Virtua Tennis 1. I think that's the first and the best.
There's a new Virtua Tennis very soon.
Which they've called Virtua Tennis 2009.
Yes.
They've taken the 4 off, and I don't know, the first one on the Dreamcast is just an awesome game, and it's exactly the same as the arcade cabinet. And after that, they just kind of kept adding, I think they kept adding things that didn't really need to be added. It's just such a wonderful original game.
Yeah.
I'll go for that. What else have we got?
Hennes191, who's the fellow that says, I love Ian's enthusiasm and his Halo Wars story. Yes. I imagine his red angry face as he rants.
I do, yes, I do rant.
He said his 3 games were, I think this is cheeky, Bioshock 2, which obviously is not out for some time, so he imagines getting stranded in the future. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Super Mario Bros. 3. So that's his.
Sakura Slight has gone for, some retro kind of games here. Final Fantasy VII for the PS1.
No comment on that.
No, none. Road Avenger for the Mega CD. This game made me buy the Mega CD attachment. Wow, you've got a Mega CD. That's this for the Mega Drive, and it's just this CD player that they released like 3 games for. It's basically playing a movie, but the controls are similar to Dance Dance Revolution games. And Sonic 2 for the Mega Drive. Classic, loads of speed and colour, and just all-round fun. Would love to see the Sonic games remastered. Yeah, you can't go wrong with the first couple of Sonic games, really. They are classics.
BW Own Bwed, I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to say that. So Geometry Wars and Resident Evil 4 and Final Fantasy 7, so another for Final Fantasy 7. And Muddy Bloke said Bomberman, Twin Kingdom Valley and GTA Vice City, because he would never get tired of running over people and listening to Cheesy's 80 music.
Twin Kingdom Valley? Wow, I've not heard that mentioned. Twin Kingdom Valley was, I had it on the BBC. I think you could get it for the Commodore and probably the Spectrum as well. And it was a text-based graphics adventure, but it was innovative because it had graphics. It had these huge graphics, and the graphics were incredible for the time, but they were so detailed, it would take like 30 seconds for each page to load. So you'd be like in a mountain. It'd take 30 seconds, and you go north. 30 seconds later, and it just take ages, but it was huge. JP094 says, I had a wheelbarrow, the wheel fell off. I don't know if that's...
That's actually a football song.
Is it? Oh, no, because he talks about football. Okay, yeah. He says, seeing as you mentioned you're going to watch a football match, I was wondering what football team do you support? What team do you support, Nick?
I support Crystal Palace.
Okay. Where I live in Nottingham, there are 2 teams, Nottingham Forest and Notts County. Okay. I love the fact that people feel they can tell us what's going on in their lives.
Lovely.
Well done that.
Legit. Killzone 2, Doom, and Double Dragon.
Oh, Double Dragon's just a dirty, guilty pleasure.
That's a bit of a winner. I used to spend all my money on the Double Dragon arcade game.
Yeah.
When me and my mate were meant to be going swimming, and our mums would give us £1.50 or whatever it was to get in the swimming baths, and
you just go and play on the arcade.
We'd go down the bike shop and play Double Dragon at the back of the
story.
shop.
Well, listen, thank you very much for that. We do appreciate all of your comments on the forum and leave any comments. The question I was going to throw out quickly, and I suspect we may be coming to the end of our time, so let's throw it out and maybe have the discussion next month, is favourite console of all... The best console, shall we say. Now, there's 2 ways of approaching this, and I think either way's... Have a Jaffa cake, Nick, I'm going to be sometime. There are 2 ways to approach this, and I think that either of these routes are perfectly legitimate. There's the scientific, let's look at the numbers and the facts-based, this is the best console because... and I guess then it's going to be a fight between PC, 360 and PS3, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
There's also the emotional, this is the best console because I had it when I was 12 and I spent a year, and that's going to be Spectrums, Mega Drives, Dreamcasts, whatever you want it to be, whatever you want. So I'm going to throw that out as for next month's discussion. What is the best console in your eyes of all time? And by the end of next month's podcast, we'll decide. We will have the definitive answer. We will have the definitive answer. I know what I'm going for, but I'm not going to say it just yet.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to bring something up.
Yes,
because,
please do.
Someone on the forums said they'd love to see a Saw game because we were talking about games that aren't really scary.
Oh, yeah.
And, there is a Saw game coming out in October from Konami. So whoever brought that up should be very, very, very optimistic.
Okay, well, that's exciting. I would be interested to see the gaming figures, how games are selling now, because everyone is, especially after the recent budget, people are skint, Are people being more selective about what they buy. Instead of going
Yeah.
out and buying 3 or 4 games, they're, maybe just choosing one and being a little bit more careful.
Yeah,
Be
possibly.
interested. Listen, you can tell us all of the answers to these questions and more by going to the forum and putting your comments on there about questions we've asked, about favourite console, all of those kind of things, and anything else that you want to say to us. Please
I
do.
haven't plugged the URL up until this point.
Oh,
better do so.
Do it, yes, boss.
tech.uk.msn.com as always, and as Ian said, let us know.
Yes. Oh, and also you can with the iTunes as well. Please feel free to go and subscribe to us on the iTunes.
Indeed.
And have it delivered to your MP3 box. Someone's explained it to me, and that's actually how it works. So that's
Technical
good.
term.
Right.
Excellent.
I'm off.
Thanks, everyone.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Lovely.
Gamecast from MSN.
Produced by theboyinthecorner.co.uk.